Brew Crew assemble. Good evening everyone, welcome to the Brews at 10. This is my left eye, I'm your host Lefty, a very warm welcome to everyone this evening. Just a minute or two late getting on tonight. I'm still finishing off making my brew. So I hope you're all well. Good to see got some people in the chat nice and early. Hedy taking the honours of first in the chat this evening. Very warm welcome to you. I'm Nina Sadie, Morbius, Chris. Good to see you already. What's happening, people? What do you know? Well, I'll tell you one thing I know today that I didn't know yesterday. I forgot because of the Easter break. There will be no PMQs today to add commentary to and analysis. But I do have something else instead. Starmer's been grilled in a different fashion in a select committee. So we're going to be taking a look at some of the excerpts of that, not the full whack. I think it was somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. But I do understand he got a pretty good grilling, so be adapting the game that we play along as well. More on that later. And this is something I really have to do on my left eye, on the Brews at 10. So early into the stream, excuse me for just one moment. I've got to put the milk in and then I'm good to go. Be right back. Right, okay, good to go. Yeah, just had to do that myself, didn't I, Phil? Yeah, I'm looking at you. Phil's our producer. He's a mute. And yeah, you can train a monkey for minor technical difficulty repair. Delicately putting together a hot tasty beverage is somewhat more of a challenge, which you wouldn't think, would you? Okay people, good to see you doing well in the chat. Thumbs up from Morbius as well. All good. So yeah, it might be a little bit briefer than normal on a Wednesday. That can often stretch to and over a couple of hours. Yeah, in lieu of PMQs that I'm normally going to. Will you be, do you miss it? Do you miss it already? Chris, yeah, we've been working our way through a few tech problems. Almost all of the way there now. I realised recently with the mic cutting out, it was when I turned it down on the fader on the EQ and then tried to turn it back up again during clips and things, you know, so you don't hear the rustling of my biscuit packet and whatnot. Or me shouting at Phil. No, oh, don't shout at Phil. I'm only joking. We get along just fine. He is definitely real. So yeah, realised it was a bit of a coincidence that it was happening when I came back out of watching a clip, or turning it down for some other reason. Davinia, good evening. How are you, comrade? Window shopping on eBay. Are you getting some new windows? No, I know what you mean. Yes, Davinia, another 10 bells is upon us. Another Wednesday as well, but no PMQs. I had put together one of my little Rick Mail intros, but I neglected to upload it to the broadcast software. I'm not going to do that live because it'll need reshaping and whatnot, which I'm not going to do. Let's try and keep things running nice and smooth. Yes, I'm not too bad, Davinia, thank you very much for asking. Other minor technical problems aside, and I'll get into that now as I thank you good members in the chats and all the other members on the channel as well. So yes, yet again, on the last 2 or 3 streams there's been a problem with gifted memberships. Regular viewers will know that on-off technical problem. But other than that, these are the great supporters on the channel. Thanks to every single one of you. Please do consider joining this list of people. Plenty of perks, just 99 pence. Give them a look. I do really appreciate all the support. Thanks for the gifted memberships. Whether they went through or not, I do appreciate the effort. Wouldn't be aware of the problem if it wasn't for people trying to gift memberships, and it's not just one specific viewer. It's happening with multiple viewers. So yeah, is there conspiracy in the air? We were debating that last night a little. Thank you, members. So the current total, that is if you good people renew your memberships after midnight, those of you, just one sec, yeah, those of you who are due a renewal, please do so. There we are. I can see you now. $87 out of the target, the milestone goal of 100. Can we get to a century for the Brew Crew? Right, let's see. I do have a comedy clip lined up, but I'm going to save that for the end though. It's the same one I used yesterday. I hope you'll forgive me. It's just, it's a friend of mine who put it together, so I think it's worth watching for anybody who wasn't on yesterday's Brews at 10. Other than that, I guess I can do a quick plug for another new feature on the album. Just tidy up the screen a little. yeah, we'll get into this select committee in just a moment. Another quick plug, and I do want your contributions, people that have been coming in thick and fast, but the more the merrier. You'll see what I mean with this little interactive feature. Quality features, people. And quality. Hot beverage puns, right. And Morbius has taken a shot and it's landed. Morbius, excellent. Incredible. Thank you very much. Bullseye. Take a bow, Morbius. He's clearly gained some XP, and he's used that to unblock the gifted membership spell. Still working on that universe building game for the channel. No, I'm only joking, but well done, Morbius. Oh, and it's gone to Chris as well. Nice stuff. Enjoy that, Octo. And we've got another shot. Yes, another bullseye. What a shot. Nina Sadie, excellent stuff. Great, so let's update the total. Wonderful. $89 now. Double thumbs up from me. Solidari-Tea, Morbius and Nina Sadie. What was that? Oh yes.
Do you like a hot tasty beverage with your music? Then my left eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album, all your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place. Volume 1 is now available, featuring
Love Me Brew, The Beatles, Virtual Insanity, Jamiroquai, Knowing Tea, Knowing You, ABBA, Tears Don't Fall, Brew It for My Valentine, and The Power of Love by Brewy Lewis and the Brews. Order now.
Well, that's, yeah, the Brews at 10, the album, not actually available anywhere, but regardless, people, I still want your suggestions for other hot beverage-based songs or artists. Just gonna grab my notes. Had some very good suggestions coming in so far. Including, well, I'll give you two potential contenders at the moment. Got Stand By Tea by Benny King and Spaceman by Babylon Brew. Could perhaps be included in Volume 2, but if you've got any suggestions, let me know. Preferably in the comments, people, for those. It's easier for me to keep track. Because I'd feel pretty, I don't know, sitting there staring at the replay of the chat for however long the stream lasts. Thanks again for all your contributions so far. Yeah. Right, so moving on there. Let's get started with the Select Committee. Just check we're all ready to go. So it's actually a compilation that Politics Joe have put together, so a free plug for them. Tina Turner. That's a I do enjoy picking the brains of the viewers. Okay, that's all good to go. Just one brief thing before we do go into it. I'm gonna still play Keith's catchphrases, but this time it's a committee and not the House of Commons. And we do have a new contender, people. If you're not a regular viewer, I'll explain what all this nonsense is about in just a moment, but perhaps the intro speaks best for itself.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank
you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole. Plan for change. 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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, it's Keith's catchphrases, and you can see a few examples there. PMQs has become somewhat predictable and repetitive, as have almost every sentence that comes out of Labour MPs' mouths. So we decided to make a little game out of it, and we pit two words or phrases against each other normally in PMQs, but this time it's still going to be valid in the Select Committee. These are the rules of Keith's catchphrases. So contending phrases must be spoken by Starmer. Phrases get knocked out after 2 losses in a row. So last time Black Hole made a bit of a comeback. It had so many mentions on one of the sessions a few days ago, and then just seemed to disappear. So yeah, 2 losses in a row, and then you're out, so a new challenger this week. Variations are allowed, slight variations, delivering changes planned, plurals, that sort of thing. Okay, hope we're all down with the rules. Won't be using any of the Lindsay Hoyle stuff this week. So let's get right into it. Again, these are just some of the highlights from Politics Joe, not the full whack. Don't forget to hit thumbs up, people. Keep those suggestions coming in the comments, such as Houses of Depravity, Tea for Two, Doris Day.
Prime Minister, I just wanted to kick off with obviously the big issue of the last few days. Growth is obviously your government's primary objective. But in the light of what happened last week,
Just a bit of buffering there. We'll work on that whilst I also introduce our new contender before Keith gets to speak. So the current champion at the moment, people, is of course Postman Twat, who we can see there. And every time you hear the word deliver, there'll be an appearance. You can see a bigger version there. And also now the new contender, people. Tariffs. Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. Now, the word's so abundant at the moment, and I do believe it's one of the topics in hand in the Select Committee. So, will the current champion get a run for his money this week? Let's just reset the scores. And we're good to go. I'm hoping this will be a good contest. Let's see what you got, Tariffs. There's a new kid in town. Apologies for the buffering, just give that a moment. It does catch up eventually. We generally win in the end, you know.
Introduction of tariffs by the United States and predictions of a global recession. Are you looking at revisiting your economic plans as a government?
I think what's happened in the last few days, last week or so, is obviously very challenging for us and very challenging around the world. And I'm very disappointed to see tariffs in place. I don't think that they are good for our economy or for economies around the world.
The challenger is in with a bang, taking a very early lead there.
My instinct is that we shouldn't jump in with both feet to retaliate. So in that sense, I'm not changing
Sorry about the
my
buffering, people.
plans. I think
It will
calm,
resolve itself.
collected response. Obviously, we have to keep our options on the table and do the preparatory work for retaliation if necessary. But I think that trying to negotiate an arrangement which mitigates the tariffs is better. But I think more fundamentally, in answer to your question, I don't think
Hey Super, hey Graham. Hope you're both very well.
Days is a temporary passing.
Thanks for the
phase.
suggestions as well.
I think it's a changing world order. I think the world is changing before us as a new era. And therefore I do think there are two ways in which our plans don't so much change as turbocharge. The first is we have to do much more and go further and faster in making sure our economy is resilient and thriving.
I have people who work at JLR, albeit at Halewood, that you were at JLR at Solihull yesterday in the support you gave to the car industry. But I want to talk about steel as well. It's obviously a very, very urgent situation at Scunthorpe. I know you visited. And one of the asks that seems to be coming out is for the government to provide the support and maybe this fits in what you just described as changing how the state operates, and that support through buying raw materials to keep production going. Is that one of the things that might still be on the table, or other alternatives being looked at? Because clearly it's a very serious situation. I know you're committed to steel.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, thank you for raising Scunthorpe. We are in the middle of discussions, so I hope the committee will forgive me if I don't go through each of the fine detail, but I'm absolutely committed to steel production in this country. All of our plans are going to require infrastructure and more steel in this country, so the last thing we want to do is to lose our capacity on steel. That's why we set aside quite a chunk of money, £2.5 billion, on on top of the money we put into Port Talbot, which got a better deal there. For Scunthorpe, I've spent some time at Scunthorpe talking to the management, talking to
just working on this buffering
there,
people.
and I know firsthand the impact that any loss of capacity at Scunthorpe would have on the workforce and the...
Yeah, he went to Scunthorpe for his big photo-op course.
We have made an offer, but all options are
Always goes and visits the people he's going to screw over with a smile.
There wasn't the deliverance of increased jobs for sick and disabled people. And in fact, we saw an increase in mental health issues and 28,000 sick and disabled people pushed into severe poverty. So how are we going to ensure that in terms of the reforms that are proposed in the Green Paper, that we won't push more sick and disabled people into poverty and further away from the labour market?
Well, I think firstly we need to learn the lessons, as you rightly point out, from the past, where proposals were put into place which in the end didn't achieve the desired end. I don't think that means that nothing can ever work. I don't accept that for a minute. And I'm very...
He's making a very poor excuse of why they, on a macro scale, just doing the same thing over and over again. The very definition of insanity. It's doing that and expecting a different result, isn't it? Like in the contributions to the album in the chat. Yeah, I'll just make a quick note of those. Let's get on with the video.
Very struck by the additional number of people that are now not in work, and I do think that the measures we put in place, the right to try work, for example, I genuinely think could make a huge difference. I've seen many examples, you yourself will have as well, of people who would like to take the step into work but are worried that if they do and they fail, then they won't get the work and they won't have the benefit at the end of
Oh, my goodness me. The ones who want to take the step into work and then they're worried that they might fail. Look, there's all these moves, all this austerity against the disabled isn't going to suddenly magically be able to cure them, make them better, or get them to the point where they can work again. It's a stuff of fantasy. It's, you know, what planet is he living on? So still 1-0.
The exercise. We want this Labour government to reduce child poverty as well, and that's why the strategy on child poverty is so important to us. As soon as we're able to share more details of that with you, we obviously will do so, so we can take your views into account on it.
Final little one, Chair, if that's okay. Well, on that basis, Prime Minister, I absolutely agree with you that we do need to do that work. Will you commit to not implementing legislation before we have the details of those impact assessments? I think that's so important. Otherwise, potentially, we will have policy that won't work and could actually do harm.
Well, as I've said, we need an evidence base, but we also need to get on with the work that we need to get on to. So I'm not going to make commitments in relation to timetabling, but I absolutely take the point you put to me.
Thank you.
Do you have an idea of the timetable for those announcements on child poverty?
Yes, but not sort of to the date.
We have heard a lot of the conversation about tariffs, and you'll know in the past President Trump's approach to our NHS when it came to UK-US trade negotiations. He had his eye firmly on parts of the NHS. Now, you've said publicly that nothing is off the table. does that include everything to do with the NHS, which includes drug patents, negotiated prices for medicines, and market access for US companies?
Well, I've been...
Yeah, very good question, and I hope everybody's leaning in here to listen to this answer, because, as she put it, his words were, everything's on the table, and it's not in PMQs, so when the NHS comes up, they can't do that cutaway shot to Wes Streeting, who I did a little video about yesterday, by the way. Please do check it out. So let's see what his response is going to be. I'm a bit curious. This better be good, Keith.
Very protective of the approach we take the NHS in any dealings with any other country.
Just a straight up no. Just a straight up.
It is our greatest asset.
That's off the
and
table.
we are not trading it away. And that's the approach that I take here.
Including all the areas I've just mentioned?
Well, including, the data.
Asset in what sense? In the sense that we can sell it, or it's like a credit to the country in the sense that it's, a credit to what the country's achieved in creating it in the first place. But specifically the word asset implies something that might be a commodity that can be bought and or sold. That's quite alarming language from Keith there. And he's been very hesitant in his answer as well. He could have straight up just said, no, NHS is off the table. I'm pretty sure he might have even said that before he was elected. Perhaps before he was elected as leader of the party, as far back as that. And now he's absolutely not ruling it out. Summarily, she's put that question to him, and he said, isn't the NHS great? Great NHS. Good NHS. Brilliant stuff, isn't it? I really like it, and it's a good thing. He's dancing around the question, but he's got no rhythm. He's got no soul.
Data that we hold, which is private information, it must be held securely. I do think there's work we can do on what use we make of that data, not so much in trade agreements, but right here in the United Kingdom in terms of advancing our own understanding of medicines and preventative measures. But I take a protective approach when it comes to the NHS.
Answer the question. Protective. That was such
Ms. Moran's questions about.
That was such a slimy answer. An ending to the answer, and indeed the whole thing. I take a protective approach when it comes to the NHS, and then obviously people's data comes into this. Your health records. Will private healthcare firms be allowed to go through those to filter out what they want to try and sell you, what they want to try and flog you for profit? They're not in it because they want people to be healthy. Healthy people's bad for business where private healthcare is concerned. And that's alarming. If Streeting is to lose his seat, there's still a lot of damage that they can do in the 4+ years that they've still got until the election. Unless he's willing to absolutely rule that out, then I'm very concerned.
About the Casey review, that you're indicating that there's going to be some announcement or change introduced in 2026 in relation to social care. Did I hear you right?
You did, and I'm just checking my notes because because what the timetable we've set is for the report to be in, or for our work to be in two parts, and the first part is 2026, the second is 2028, and it's just double check
you
those.
seem to indicate that you'd be moving faster on that first part in response to Ms. Moran. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Louise is starting her work this month. I've asked her to do her work in two stages. The second of the stages is what are the major reforms that are needed, and therefore the cross-party work that needs to be done. The first part is what are the deliverable changes that we can do right here, right now, without waiting for the wider reform. Yeah, right. I'm as sure as I can be, but I can't find the right page of my note. That's 2026.
I think we are going to have to count that one. Deliverable.
Go for 2026 for the first part of the report.
Well, I'm sure
I'm wrong about that, I will write to you straight away. But it is
corrects itself a lot earlier than this.
To deal with this point, which is a good point, which is let's not just wait till 2028 and get towards an election and find there are problems along the way. Let's bank some of these changes as we go forward, and that's why I split it into two parts, so that we will get part one as a foundational stone to build on.
And also, in the exchange, you were talking about the national insurance contributions, particularly to support care workers, but local authorities and others are not getting enough extra money to pay for those employer national insurance contributions, so it's coming out of their core budget. Are you going to revisit that at all?
Well, as I say, I think the figure again, it's not quite in front of me, is £880 million extra towards this aspect, which is adequate. I mean, we'll always have a look at what's adequate, but that's precisely why it was put there, and it is much more funding they've had to date. Yeah,
but it's just about making, if each individual care worker needs to have their national insurance paid for, and indeed others, if it's not enough to cover that, then that comes out of core budgets.
Yes, I mean, but it's additional money that's been put in, and
it's not really additional money, is it, Keith?
The work we did at the budget and the decisions we made are the very reason we've able to invest 26 billion extra in the NHS, which is beginning to make a difference. And that's a question of political priorities. And I'm glad that we put the money in the NHS, because I think that's the place it should be.
Well, it's always a trick, not a trick exactly, but government promises something, it makes a change, and then the public sector isn't always funded to cover it, so there's a gap there.
I appreciate that.
You are a lawyer and our Prime Minister, so can you please tell us how the UK will comply with the International Court of Justice's legal opinion on Israel's illegal occupation of Palestine, and can you outline how the UK will implement our legal obligations under the UN General Assembly resolution?
Look, I mean,
Pre-Palestine.
Was an international lawyer. I think that marks me down, not up. But of course I believe in international law, and I accept it underpins everything we do bilaterally and multilaterally.
So what are we doing to hold countries to account?
Sorry?
What are we doing to hold countries
to account? We are members of various courts and institutions, and that is one way of holding countries to account. But we also hold countries to account bilaterally in the discussions that we have at whatever level, whether that's leader to leader, whether that's foreign secretary to foreign secretary.
Flow snake and guitar guy, nice to see you.
We are critical of Russia as the aggressor in Ukraine because it's in breach of the UN Charter. That is a rules-based system. It is the basis of our criticism.
Got deliver versus tariff one all at the moment.
Almost all allies across the world, particularly in Europe, are putting in the amount of money they are because Russia is the aggressor, and it's a rules-based system.
And Israel and the occupation of Palestine?
Well, again, I think the occupation is unlawful. We've said that, or that's been long-standing government policy. In fact, in fairness, the last government as well. We are members of the international institution.
He has actually admitted it, though.
I've spoken to
Use the
many
word
humanitarian
unlawful on
workers
occupation.
around the world who feel
Is he gonna use the
that
G
Israel
word?
isn't being held to account, particularly when it comes to international humanitarian law. So will we be pushing for an inquiry into the 15 humanitarian workers that were killed on the 23rd?
Oh, I mean, there's got to be an investigation.
Yeah, and don't just say Israel are going to investigate it, an independent one.
We have to be absolutely clear that we're not just talking about that isolated incident. There hasn't been enough aid getting into Gaza at speed and at pace for a very long time. The resumption of hostilities is the wrong thing, in my view. We need to get back to a ceasefire. We need to get aid in. We need to get the hostages out. And we need to put our foot in the door for a process, however remote it may seem
And
today,
stop the genocide and illegal occupation, Keith. Did you,
to my view, the only
you know,
way of
pass you by?
peace in the long term. And I do appreciate that
The return
may seem
of
a
the
long way off at the
sausages.
moment.
Said these companies are so powerful, the UK needs to treat them as sovereign states. Is that what you are doing, and how is that reflected in trade talks with the US?
Well, they are very powerful companies, many of them based in the US. We are very, very attractive on AI as well, obviously. We're amongst the top 3 in the world when it comes to AI, with fantastic capability here. And we want to and are working with those sectors.
But it's not being used properly, is it? I do believe that AI should be used. It has certain applications. It certainly shouldn't be given free rein over many parts of society. But where is, you know, the age of robots doing our jobs for us and things like this? Where's the AI that makes people's lives, a lot of people's lives, depending on what sector you're in, a lot easier and more comfortable? There's not even, and it obviously it's not going to happen overnight. It would happen progressively, but there's not even a hint that you're trying to even begin that journey. It's also being used at the moment for things that I do disapprove of, especially in the music industry and stuff like this, you know. I think art, where art's concerned, that's obviously, I think it's a very human thing. And in a lot of senses it concerns emotions and things like this. So, as you know, as well as the fact of appreciating the talent of whatever artist, whatever field of art it might be, painting, sculpture, music, street, whatever it is, yeah. So things like that I don't approve of. But if it can be used to further medical research, etc., and especially in the field of mathematics, it has huge applications there as well. Just don't give it the nuclear codes or anything, because that could arguably be even worse than Donald Trump having them. That was an Amber Tangent Alert warning.
Wherever they are. In relation to trade talks, obviously there are questions about the appropriate way to tax digital services, etc. There are questions about how technology impacts with free speech. I've been very clear in my view that we need to have an arrangements for digital tax of some sort. And equally, we need to be pioneers of free speech, which we have been for very many years in this country. But at the same time, we rightly protect, under the Online Safety Act, further provisions of which are coming into force pretty quickly. And when it comes to dealing with paedophiles and protecting children, I take a pretty strong line that we take the necessary measures in order to do so.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Part of the power of these, well, I say sovereign companies is their pocketbooks at a time when we are desperately seeking investment. Google's R&D budget is over twice your government's. Microsoft's market cap is 3/4 of our entire GDP. And of the £63 billion announced at the October investment.
Actually, Doc, this stream, it's running entirely off potatoes tonight, which is probably why it's buffering a little bit. I'm not sure what you're getting at there with the think about artificial intelligence being used to make silly videos. Back into the committee. That was all tongue-in-cheek, by the way. I hope you realise that, Doc. It's all good.
Summit, which you mentioned, 2/5 of that was from the United States. So isn't it inevitable that British tech policy will be made in Silicon Valley? And how can we ensure that the benefits of investment, growth, jobs, skills, security are fully captured by communities and businesses?
He's going to go where he thinks the markets are going to go, and if there's a demand for things like
the AI action plan
weapons and
which sets
AI and
out
things
how
like this, he's going to be too tempted to go for it.
Interact with those businesses, with the sector generally. That's been welcomed across the piece in relation to the framework that we put around this. We obviously now need to move that forward. But the investment in terms of the second part of your question, which is how's it felt in communities here, the investment is investment into this country, into data centres. We've set up growth zones for AI. And I think there's huge potential for us in relation to AI. We already have, as we go into this revolution, which undoubtedly will be.
I've heard a lot of bullshit boardroom speak from Starmer in my time, but creating growth zones, what's that supposed to mean? Can you see that on an overhead projector or on a whiteboard or on a computer screen at some sort of presentation or in a PowerPoint? These are the growth zones. What the growth zones? What geographically? By industry? By category of what they produce? If they do produce something physical, that is not a service, for example, or something digital. So, creating growth zones. It sounds like something that a contestant on Dragon's Den might come out with out of desperation. Yeah, we're really going to spread this product and create growth zones for this prototype, which hasn't worked during the demonstration and will probably render no investment whatsoever. And that's the same vibes I'm getting from Keith. Must do better, Keith.
We're not starting in the same place as other countries. We are already right
London,
up there
good
at the
point,
top
obviously,
in
London
our
gets the money
capability
first.
with what we've already got in this country.
Oh, so that was that. Thanks to Politics Joe, another free plug there for that little compilation. What's the logo gone? There we go. A draw then. A draw on the debut. Only 1-1. Only 1-1. I'm quite surprised that Keith managed to speak at length without mentioning Deliver more than once. Tariffs did come up a few times, but remember, it's got to be himself that says it. Let me know if you watched all of the select committee. That would be too long for me to bear, even if I did have the time, people, to be perfectly honest. And if you're watching back on replay, let me know what you thought about his performance in the comments, or what I might have missed from the rest of that hearing. Speaking of comments and stuff, please make sure you've hit the buttons, people. Solidari-Tea for that. Right, looks as though the I don't want to jinx it, but it looks like the chat's running a bit smoother tonight. We've already had a couple of gifted memberships going through, looking good. Perhaps the good ship Brews at 10 has steered itself right. Not even a whiff of the technical difficulty video. Just skimming through to see if there's any more suggestions for the Brews at 10 the album. I noticed a few whilst we were going through. Thanks to those of you who threw up Palestine flags and watermelons as well. But I certainly wasn't appeased by his responses to that. Super. Politicians seem to be a bit hoity-toity. That's good. That's not a song or artist suggestion, but still good punning. Alright, keep them coming. Careless whisper, Davinia. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Yeah, keep those flowing. As you do with your beverage. Whether it's hot or cold. Whether it's served in. What else is happening, people? Quickly check if there's any developing news. Floor Snake, what's this about a notification? Luke Akehurst, oh god, he's a piece of work. That slime bag. He's turned on Israel, has he? Nah, really? Oh, sarcasm. Right, so markets have made somewhat of a recovery after, what was it, a week ago when he announced the T word. Bounced back a little, but he's still really cranking it up on China. So his strategy is, you know, oh, they'll all come to me now when he's been on TV. And I think I've actually... clip of that. Yeah, we can watch that. So here's what he actually said for anyone who's not familiar. I'm going to have to resize this live on the stream. If you'll bear with me, just get rid of this. Get rid of that crap.
You know, in the first 4 years, we had the most successful country in history in terms of economics. We had an 88% increase in the stock markets. We had an 88% increase. There's never been any president that had an 88% increase. We had 88%, and there were a lot of happy people. And I think we're going to do much better than that this time, because this time I'm doing what I want to do with respect to the tariffs. I think we're going to do much better. And just remember the numbers. When you get up to $2 billion a day, $2 billion a day, they're saying, sir.
Guess what, people? Drum roll, please. Turns out that's not true. The $2 billion a day. No, it's not true.
Can't be that, can it? I said, yeah, it can.
It isn't.
The biggest transaction ever made. This is bigger than any deal. You guys, some of you work for companies. Your companies are peanuts. I don't care how big they are. Compared, this is the largest transaction in the history of...
But your companies, what about your companies? There's a lot of your companies that ended up literally worth peanuts, weren't there? Trump casinos, what happened to that? How can you bankrupt a casino? It's like a license to print money, man. Really? And yes, failed at that. My irony-ometer broke long ago, but I'm sure it'd still be off the scale by now. So yeah, peanuts, is it? Oh, your few billion here, few billion there is peanuts, is it? How's the Trump coin? How's the Trump coin going? Oh, he's not doing that anymore. Like, he's not doing the casinos. Because he, you know, pretty much failed. He's into a pump and dump and then reinflate the schemes on the stock market now, as you can see.
And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, you know, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, you know, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate. Congress takes over negotiating. Sell America fast, because you're going to go busted.
Scoff, and thrice fucking scoff. Have you ever heard a head of state talk in such a fashion, such undiplomatic language about other countries? You know, this is an insult. It's, again, diplomatically ill-advised. It's just generally not, you know, whatever your policies are. There's always a base level of courtesy or whatnot, or what's the word, etiquette and whatnot. But you just, you know, you can call out other world leaders in one way, but you don't talk about them like this. It's more in how unwise it is to do so than the sort of, it's, you know, being sacrosanct or anything like that, or you know, tradition, this sort of thing. But yeah, definitely ill-advised, definitely not wise to sort of gloat now that countries are coming to ask him to reduce the tariffs, because it's just essentially act stupid, and then people will have to pander to me to stop acting stupid. And not only do I get the attention, you know, I also get the satisfaction of having that stock market at my fingertips, like some sort of sick puppeteer, when it rests on every sentence. that he speaks.
You don't. I just saw it today. A couple of your congressmen said, I think we should get involved in the negotiation of the tariffs. Oh, that's what I need. I need some guy telling me how to negotiate. I tell you, they have.
Hey, yeah, you do the impressions. Why don't you do the impression of the disabled person again, Donald, you sick fuck? Serious. This guy's a real piece of work. Really is. So this was last night, I think. Forgive me, I can't remember the exact occasion at which he's speaking. The orange is turning somewhat brown at the moment. After this, I'm going to remind you of a clip I played yesterday as well. Double plug. 2 days in a row where he gets 3 mentions, so he's a friend of mine as well, and he doesn't do a bad impression of Trump, apparently.
Happiest people in the world would be China. They wouldn't be paying 104%. I tell you, they'd be paying no percent. We'd be paying them 104%. That's the beauties. These guys, we gotta.
They weren't. And it's an overused political concept now, this using it in this way. It is quite unique. But previously we've seen excuses for other bad decisions, including atrocities. Things like the illegal invasion of Iraq spring to mind and whatnot. But when you hear it from the President of the United States that whatever action it is a response to something that's happened to America, oh, poor old America. So, the notion that that Iraq was somehow linked to the September the 11th attacks. And then today, these tariffs are reciprocal. But they're not. And he's saying, well, if I'd not have done this, then China would have put 104% tariffs on us. But they didn't. They didn't, Donald. And it just doesn't add up. It's just so off balance. Sorry, I won't get into what I mean by that. That concerns smaller countries. But he expects essentially that there's going to be zero trade deficit across the board, and that's what this is going to achieve. But there's always going to be trade deficits because not every country is the same in terms of population, in terms of GDP, in terms of what it produces, in terms of size, geography, and whatnot. There's so many factors, and that's why we're supposed to have this, network of global trade. So there's always going to be some countries that take more in than they can export and whatnot. What is he doing? It's I know what he's doing.
Be careful. And even the concept of it hurts your negotiation. When they see a little story like that, the other side, it hurts your negotiation. And then the fake news wants to build it up, and it has no chance anyway. But we have to remain united. As I defend workers from unfair trade, House Republicans have a chance this week to bring trillions and trillions of dollars pouring back into America by pushing forward with the largest tax cuts in American history, which is what you're working on right now.
If I'm a country and I was only making a very small margin on what I was exporting to America before, and now I'm not, then how is that bringing in trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars? And also, continuing day after day, every time you wake up, there's a new tariff on China. like I said the other day, China aren't small potatoes in terms of global trade. Just make it make sense. And then you can wake up the next day and everything's changed again. Just make sure that your friends, get in while the stock's low. And make sure that they, they dump it when you're going to say something stupid and then it tanks again.
Just in American history.
Wow. Yeah, what can you say? There's definitely an ideology there, Doc. Yeah, part of the plan. Wow. Where do you start? So he makes sure that certain investments go through his companies for a kick-off. That's one of the incentives, or one of the intentions for Trump to do that. And Elon Musk is also supposed to be getting a pretty big slice of one of these $1 trillion deals. What are the odds, of all the billionaires in the world, or even all the billionaires in America? It just happens to be one who's running a government department. But surely this is a coincidence and does not require investigation in any form whatsoever. Where will it all end up? Where will we all end up? I noticed someone else in the chat earlier asking the question as to whether or not he'll even survive this term by one way or another. Alright people, so you might have already seen this before, but I do hope that you did enjoy it. Oh, not that one. It's another shameless, it's a bit of a shameless plug for a friend of mine who has a channel called Climate Lens. Do check it out. I'll put a link in the description of this stream as well. It's also in the description of yesterday's. So check out the channel if you want to see other content. Yeah, do enjoy. So it's a Zoom call. It's a Zoom call, but from perhaps a parallel universe where the aforementioned Donald J. Trump has joined the climate movement.
Tonight we have a very special guest, someone who has long been an adversary to the climate movement, and someone who we once thought could be the most dangerous man on the planet. He has recently had an awakening that will see him join the climate movement, not fight against it. Tonight, with a very important announcement, in an incredible twist, we find ourselves in the company of the President of the United States of America. You're watching a Zoom call. Please welcome President Donald Trump.
Thank you, Paul. You're doing a great job. We love you over here. We really do. I'd love to do your job. I'd probably do it better, but I'm very busy, so that's okay. That's okay. It's really great to see all you people on the call, on this Zoom call. All the people across the world, even in China. I love China, by the way. I love China. So I wanted to talk tonight about a couple of guys, a couple of great guys. They're really great at what they do. The first guy is a climate scientist. His name is James Hansen. I call him Jim. He likes Jim. I prefer Jim. It's my middle name, by the way, Donald Jim Trump. Did you know that? Did you know that? In 1988, Jim said the greenhouse effect has been detected. He showed that human activity is now causing current global warming. Some say that's not true. Some say it's a hoax, but not me. I don't say that. I did say that. I really did, but I don't believe it's a hoax anymore. I guess that makes me woke. But what did we do? What did we do when we heard this? Did we listen? Did you listen? Were you listening? Did you listen? Were you listening? Could you listen? Were you listening? Did you listen? Are you listening? Were you listening? Did you listen? Were you listening? Did you listen? Were you listening? Did you listen? Because if you don't listen now, you're ignoring the greatest threat humanity has ever faced. And I know that now, way worse than Biden, I can tell you. He was bad, though, wasn't he? He was probably the worst ever president ever. Fossil fuels, we all know this story. In this story, big oil companies win, they win big. They win so big, and we lose. We're the losers. Think of it. We're losing big. We're going to lose the ice. It's all going to go, in fact. We're going to lose the Amazon. Don't worry, Jeff. It's not Amazon, the consumerist, extractive, destructive, tax-dodging, billionaire-owned global carbon emitter. It's the Amazon, sometimes termed the lungs of the planet, so full of life, so much life. We're going to lose our stable, predictable weather. We're going to lose crops and the ability to feed ourselves. We're going to be starving, let me tell you, we're going to be starving. We're going to be fighting to survive. We're going to lose law and order. Fuck the police. There's going to be fighting in the streets. Billions of people will die. Some say 4 billion by 2050. That's a lot of people, you know. In fact, that's half of all the people gone. For those who follow the science, and Paul's going to pop the links down below. There's no way we can achieve 1.5 degrees anymore. Did you know this? They say it's highly unlikely we're going to stop the global average temperature passing 2 degrees, which means we're going to trigger tipping points and start feedback loops, beginning irreversible runaway climate change that we can't stop. We're going to lose so big. We're going to lose so big. But I don't want to lose. I'm not a loser. The second great guy, I've known this guy all my life, in fact, is me. I've been on a journey, by the way. I've been on a journey, a scary journey, a journey that led me to the truth, to the cold hard facts, and to the hard truth. And it is hard. It's so hard to hear what our world is facing right now. And I'm so grateful to all you guys on the call, giving up your liberty and your freedoms, fighting to protect the future. Being sent to prison for standing up for this beautiful planet is disgusting. Should never have happened. Never happened. You're all heroes, quite frankly. You really are. You're probably wondering how we win. Well, maybe I can help with that, by the way. I'm so great. I'm probably the best environmentalist and greatest planet protector there's ever been. I really am. I'm gonna love this. You're gonna love this. It's gonna be so beautiful, actually. It's gonna be so beautiful. I'm gonna meet with the climate and we're gonna have a deal. We're going to have a deal that's so good. It's going to be the best deal. It's going to be a great deal, you know, a tremendous deal. I'm going to meet with nature and nature's mom, Mother Nature, and we're going to have a deal too. Think of it. We're going to end climate change and biodiversity loss, and we're going to make the world great again. You won't even believe it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Starting today, I'm launching the Trump for Climate Initiative. Bye-bye, drill, baby, drill. And hello, blow, baby, blow. It'll be like nothing that has ever been seen before. It's an incredible thing. It really is. It's an incredible thing.
Sir, Elon's on the phone. He wants to know if he can have a snack before bed.
I'm in a meeting, can't you see I'm in a meeting? I mean, what have we got any fruit left? Maybe give him a banana if he's still hungry. He'll need to brush his teeth again, don't forget. And don't interrupt my meeting again, this wonderful meeting. This is probably one of the best meetings I've ever had. This amazing, very good, incredible meeting, this super Zoom meeting. I love Zoom, by the way. I love this meeting. I love to Zoom. Who likes to Zoom? I like to Zoom.
Very good. Yeah, just before the outro, I want to point out, you see the 6 other people in the Zoom call at the top. He does actually play each of the 6 of those himself as well. But do go to Climate Lens on YouTube and check out the original clip for yourself. Give it a thumbs up and a comment while you're there, and check out some of the extra content.
Give it up for Donald Trump. Woo! Yeah. Go on, lads. Woo!
If only, eh? If only. Don't think he's going to quite have that epiphany just yet, unfortunately. But great stuff from Climate Lens. Good shout there, Kieran Jones. Free Palestine. Thanks for throwing up the watermelons and flags again, people. Okay, people, I'll be cutting it a little shorter than usual this evening. Thanks for joining me though. Don't go anywhere, please do. Stay in your current positions, whether seated or otherwise. And let's see if there's anybody live to raid into. I do have to say thank you to the members as well on the channel. Thanks a lot for your contributions tonight, taking us up to 89. Good to see the gift memberships functioning again. Knock wood. It'll stay like that. Doesn't look like anybody's live unless you might have any suggestions for anybody who I've not heard of or not come across. Just while we continue to thank all the members on the channel, and you can click the buttons down below if you want to add your name to this list and check out the perks. Final reminder, thumbs up buttons, etc. People, give us a share on your social media we're on. Blue Sky, Mastodon and Twitter at the moment. Check us out there at My Left Eye UK. Thanks again for your suggestions with the Brews at 10, the album. Does look like I'm not going to be short of suggestions for that. So on that note, I'll give one final plug. Sorry, I feel like I'm overusing this clip a bit already, but it's a new feature and I do want your feedback, so yeah, I'll finish on that one. And I'll see you next time, people. Take care. My Left, I'll be seeing you soon. Free Palestine and power to the people. Good night.
Do you like a hot, tasty beverage with your music? Then My Left Eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album, all your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place. Volume 1 is now available, featuring
Love Me Brew, The Beatles, Virtual Insanity, Jamiroquai, Knowing Tea, Knowing You, ABBA, Tears Don't Fall, Brew It for My Valentine, and The Power of Love by Brewy Lewis and the Brews. Order now.